What is up, guys? Trevor here from GnG Elite. Recently, last weekend, we had a national qualifier, and I'm here with Shane. He ended up getting first with Red Blue Hirudegarn. I'm just going to hand it over to him so he can get into the list.
Alright guys, so we decided to play Red Blue Hirudegarn as more of a comfort pick into an unknown meta with World Tournament being legal for the first time. So, luckily, Marcus was playtesting announcer with me the night before, so I learned at least a tiny bit about that matchup going into that tournament, which ended up being very crucial because there were 5 or 6 announcer decks running around, all in the mid to top tables, and I needed to have that information to get to where I was, especially when I had to play against announcer in round 4, which was crucial, and in the finals. But here's the deck list. So first, of course, we're playing 4 Intensifying Power Trunks, mainly as a self-awakener tool, and it's going to let us play Chain Zeno for 1 less energy. That's really important. The way we can still have a blue up, even if we can't awaken after the Zeno. We're playing 4 Kaba. Kaba is super important against announcer. From my understanding of the matchup, you want a hard mulligan for Kaba, apply as much pressure as possible in the early game. That way when you Chain Zeno reset, they're only have 3, 4 life instead of 6, 7, 8, because, well, you're not going to be able to push that much damage through even after a Chain Zeno. They're going to start generating a whole lot of card advantage, and you need to take the opportunity of low card amount when you can. Okay, so next we have 3 burst attacks on Gohan. The card is insanely good, by far the best card from the TP4 set. Now, this card doesn't really do a whole lot for us in the early game. In the early game, you're pretty much just dirtling, using 1-cost combos during their turn, because you want to make sure you get to like right at 4 life, right when you want to Chain Zeno. The way you can Chain Zeno, reset, awaken, have life to or have energy to defend with, and things of that nature. So this card's not really going to come in for you until the late game. So like in the late game, you'll do your Chain Zeno reset, you'll next turn play a hit, and then the turn after that, when you're trying to push for game, you'll like chain attack into a burst attack, and that way you can dump cards on combos to draw more cards and just pressure those last 2, 3, 4 life they have. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to work. There was argument to go up to 4 on burst attack because I expected a lot of cell chain, but I figured 3 was enough. You can also argue 2 if you don't expect things like cell chain or anything like that, but I went with 3 as a safe number. Next we have 4 Foreseeing Hicks is the best card in the game. Look at your opponent's hand, take 2 crucial pieces. The biggest mistake you'll see people doing is playing hit and just taking super combos because they're super combos, and that's not what you want to do. You want to make sure you're taking their threats that they're going to play next turn, that way they spend a turn doing nothing. That's the most important thing you can do. By doing that, you're going to force them to waste the super combos, and then they don't have anything to play next turn, and that's much more important than just taking super combos. Let's see. Oops. Next we have the Chain Attack Zeno combo. Hirudegarn's strength lies within his Awaken Leader auto, which is even better after a Zeno reset. So that's why we want to try and make sure we're awakening on turn 4 with a Chain Zeno reset. Sometimes you want to wait later, it all just depends on circumstance, but more often than not you're going to do it on turn 4. So we definitely have to have this combo. It just helps out almost every matchup possible. It gives us outs to barrier cards, and it just sets us up to win the game by taking away their advantage. Then we have, of course, the untap engine, 4 being 4 unyielding. Honestly, the way I play the deck, I don't really think it needs unyielding. I barely ever use it. It's usually discard fodder. It's my favorite blue card to charge. Playtesting for Atlanta next weekend, the card's probably going to come out, honestly. We're probably going to playtest Deborah and some other things like that, just as like another pseudo hit. But unyielding has a high potential to come out. Of course, 1 legendary flute, just because the deck still has potential the way it's built now to have those early set 4 red-blue stormy turns. And it's not going to come up often, but when it does come up, it's pretty crucial. Like I had a match against Trevor at the preliminary where I played 3 Kapas in a turn, thanks to Flute. So, the card's still good.
Yeah, it sucked.
And it does help you bounce those pesky blockers when you're trying to go for game. 3 Raging Spirits on Gohan, just because it's a 1-cost 10k to help us defend and help apply pressure. Because we do want to try to apply pressure before we Zeno reset, because we want to make sure they're awakened before we Zeno reset. And he's going to help us do that. Of course, 4 Hoy, because it's the best super combo in the game. discarding a card to draw 2 is always going to be better than just drawing a card. You're going to filter through more cards and see more cards. 4 Unbreakable because it's a pseudo super combo, and it's 1 cost 10k. Helps us dirtle in the early game. 2 Videl. So, I wasn't necessarily expecting a whole lot of red decks yesterday. I figured a lot of people would be on the announcer hype train. I expected a fair amount of people to be on Cell Chain to try and counter that and counter the whatever SS3 decks they found. So I went with Videl over Whis just to have extra combo power. And, I mean, she was fine. She wasn't spectacular, but she wasn't bad either. I did sideboard the Whis, so... 2 Champa just to help us push damage through. Again, against a decks like Announcer, it's really important to push damage through early. And Champa's going to help us do that. And it's also just a cheeky way to end the game. We did play 4 Overwhelm cards, though, which you don't see as much anymore as you did, like, early set 4. So we're playing 2 Banisher Fu for spot removal, and 2 Scientist Fu, because it's Scientist Fu and he draws cards. Both came in clutch. I'm really happy I had these in the main board, the Banishers. Even though I never actually used them as spot removal, there were plenty of decks I played against yesterday where I'm glad he was in the deck even if I didn't see him when I needed him. Playing against Mono Blue Control round 1 for Bergamo, playing against Cell Chain in top 8 for Cell, playing against Announcer to help pop the Goku and the Vegeta, stuff like that. And then, for our side deck, I still sideboarded very heavily for Storm, just in case. I figured there's going to be at least 1 or 2 people who get, what's the word I'm looking for here, brave, and play it. So we still sideboarded 4 Jocos for Storm. We sideboarded the 2 Whis for Storm. And, I mean, they came in against Announcer, too, just because those 2 triple striker big bodies are really hard to deal with. So we brought those in against Storm. 2 Mafuba for the control decks. 2 Mass Sand. This card is insanely good, and I'm probably going to main board it over Banish Fu in Atlanta. Against Announcer, this card just completely swings tempo, and it is unreal. Just because you're going to take away 5 1-cost cards because they're flooding the board with 1-cost cards. This card is insane. The 4th Burst Attack for Cell Chain. You just kind of have to have it against Cell Chain. And 4 Cronoa, just in case somebody decided to play Shugesh. This is the only time I've ever sideboarded 4 Cronoa, but unknown format, Announcer can't play Cronoa, so I figured there's a good chance somebody's going to get really courageous and try to play Shugesh. Nobody did, but, you know, it happens.
Yeah, I believe you played the Masked Saint against the Announcer matchup. I mean, I don't think you got 5, but you did hit it pretty good.
When I played him in round 4, because I played the same Announcer opponent twice. I played him in round 4 and in the finals. When I played him in round 4, I hit him for 5. Because he just was flooding the board. And it's especially better, of course, after his Zeno.
Yeah.
And so he had flooded the board again after his Zeno, and then I just dropped Mass Sand, warped his whole board, played hit, took his bombs away, and he had like 2 cards in hand.
Nice. So you did pretty well over the weekend, but that doesn't mean you didn't have a hard matchup. So what would you say is your hardest matchup?
So Ryan was playing essentially mono red SS3, and the deck's still really hard to deal with. Just hitting Keflas on turn 5, it's really hard to deal with Keflas. It's another spot where Banisher Fu would have came in clutch, having it in the main board. But that was really it. I mean, like, Ryan bodied me pretty easily. Like, when SS3 gets to go first, they're going to hit 4 energy when you're still on, like, 3 energy.
Like, Kefla's coming out pretty early, and you have, like, nothing set. It's pretty hard.
And you can't really keep up. Oh, yeah, 4 when you're on 2. And then... let's just say I'm glad SS3 is going away. That card's stupid. It should have never been printed.
So, what you kind of talked about, what you would take out? Is there like a firmed like choice that you're definitely going to try to take out something in the main deck?
We're probably going to try and cut the unyieldings, just because the way I play the deck, I know it's very different than the way most people play the deck, and that's fine. But the way I play the deck, you don't really need unyielding. The only matchup it really comes in super clutch in, for me, is Cell Chain, just to extend plays and keep my hand low. But like the way I play the deck, where I'm just trying to get to the Zeno reset, and then draw a card every turn while I take a card away from you and spam hits. And yielding just doesn't really do a whole lot. And we want to play test adding like 1 or 2 Deborah just to have access to a pseudo hit in case we don't draw a hit after the Zeno. It just gives us access to more.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything else we wanted to try immediately. Maybe up the combo Gohan count to 4. But I think that's really about it.
Okay. But do you have anything else for us
Goodbye, SS3.
besides play the deck? Deck seems pretty strong right now. I had to play him top 8 and it's pretty rough, so it's a very good deck. But if you guys enjoyed the video, please don't forget to show some love to that thumbs up button. Let us know down below what you guys think of the deck, any changes we should think about, and let us know if you want to see any other decks. But we will see you guys later. Peace.